now take you live to the Accra International Conference Center. It's the second edition of the National Policy Summit.
In the Ghanaian tradition, as a chief, when my immediate boss is sitting in state as a chairman, and my president is also in chair, then you can imagine what is pertaining in my shoes. But my boss has given me the permission to speak and speak well. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Nana Chairman, His Royal Highness Nana Otu Sribo II Dwabenhene, and distinguished Chairman of the Council of State, Senior Minister, Honorable Ministers of State, Members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, Members of the Diplomatic Corps, Captains of Industry, Nananom, Nime, Name, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I deem it a great honor to deliver remarks on behalf of the private sector at the National Policy Summit of the Ministry of Trade and Industry. It is with great joy and appreciation that members of the private sector and the general public are gathered here today to hear government's presentation on industrialization and dialogue on the programs and projects which are meant to propel Ghana into an industrious country which we all yearn for. It may be obvious that the One District, One Factory initiative and the stimulus package have taken the center page among the various projects of government, and for one reason or the other has caught the attention of the public and industry players. It is interesting to also note that there are several programs and projects designed by the Ministry of Trade and Industry to facilitate trading across borders and help create the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. We welcome wholly the readiness of government to build industrial parks across the nation, which will be meant to house different industries. This, Your Excellency, I believe will come with special electricity and water tariffs, as well as tax exemptions, which industries have been yearning for towards improving their competitiveness. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we from the private sector are ready and fully prepared to take advantage of the various opportunities that these projects offer us, and it is our fervent belief and hope that the time to industrialize our country is now. For us to industrialize Ghana beyond aid, Nana Chairman, it is imperative for us to organize our industries along industrial value chain, which unravels the linkages and the aggregators, and ensures that goods or products are produced according to the needs of the market, with visibility and feasibility along the value chain. Businessmen and women in Ghana, as well as international partners, will naturally be compelled to invest in the country. This certainly holds the key to sustain our industrialization agenda, with its attendant benefits such as massive employment, production of high quality of goods, and efficiency in the system. We acknowledge government's commitment to improve the business environment by undertaking business regulatory reforms and holding policy dialogues with stakeholders. Going forward, Mr. Chairman, Nana Chairman, it is our expectation that this act of good faith will be cherished and continued, and governments as well will hasten to engage the private sector when it is formulating or implementing policies, plans, or programs for our mutual benefit. As government is fulfilling its part, we in the private sector will also fulfill our part by taking advantage and making Ghana the industrial hub of West Africa. Nana Chairman, Your Excellency, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Ministers of State, members of Parliament, Nananom Nime, Name, captains of industry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will at this point urge you all to fully participate in these 2 days dialogue and contribute ideas, make proposals and suggestions, and to take advantage of the environment created for us to make Ghana great again. And on this note, I thank you for your attention, and God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
And one more time, let's appreciate the President of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Nana Appiagyei Dankawoso I. We thank you for your great show of solidarity and your recommendations to government to ensure a win-win situation between the private sector and government. Mr. President, Nana Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we shall now invite a little breath of fresh air by taking one song from the Ghana Police Band.
Ministers of State, Deputy Ministers, Members of Parliament, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Nananum, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to join you this morning for the second National Policy Summit on the all-important theme of the industrial transformation of Ghana. About 3 months ago, the first policy summit, led by the Ministry of Finance, was held in this same venue to outline to the nation my vision for the economic transformation of our country. Chairperson, I seek through these summits to create a platform for the various ministries, departments, and agencies to inform and interact with the general public, including the investor community, on the various policies, programs, and strategies that have been outlined by my administration to deliver our agenda for change. We promised to run a transparent, consultative, and accountable government by periodically engaging the general public to understand the work program of the government and contribute meaningfully to governance on that basis. This, I believe, reinforces the request I made during my inaugural address on the 7th of January 2017 that Ghanaians should not be spectators, but active citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, in our campaign for the 2016 general elections, I made a promise to the people of Ghana that a new MPP government will put in place a policy framework that will help businesses expand and create jobs, as well as promote the growth of entrepreneurship for Ghanaians, particularly the youth. It is against this background that in the 2017 Asempa budget, we introduced a number of far-reaching reforms designed to reduce the cost of doing business for the private sector and shift government economic policy away from a fixation on taxation to an emphasis on production. Amongst other measures, government announced tax cuts amounting to over 1 billion cedis. These reforms are designed to make Ghana the most business-friendly nation in Africa, if not in the world. That is our goal. I'm very happy to tell you that I've just come from launching the Dignity Do the Right Thing apparel project, a Ghanaian-American company which has majority Ghanaian ownership, and which within a short space of 3 years has become the largest exporter clothing manufacturer in West Africa. It is poised to export more than $30 million worth of clothing by the end of 2018 to the U.S. market under the AGOA scheme, and is already employing some 1,500 people to be scaled up to 5,000. This is exactly the kind of development the doctor ordered. We recognize that macroeconomic stability is a necessary but not sufficient condition for economic transformation. To this end, the MPP's agenda for economic growth and job creation is underpinned by a program of rapid and aggressive industrialization and value addition, especially in agro-processing and light manufacturing. Regrettably, the industrial sector has suffered one of the most significant setbacks in our history over the past few years. In 2014, for example, industry, which in the year 2008, the last year of the government of the great Ghanaian statesman, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, former President of the Republic, had grown to 15.1%, slumped to 0.8%. In 2015, to minus 0.3%. and further down to minus 1.4% in 2016. In 2015, manufacturing recorded a negative growth of minus 2%, while mining recorded a negative growth of 3.8%. A significant number of small, medium, and large-scale operators were all brought to their knees as a result of 4 years of dumsor induced by the mismanagement of the energy sector. According to the reputable Institute for Social, Statistical, and Economic Research, ISA, dumsor cost the country $680 million United States dollars in economic activity in 2014 alone, equivalent to 2% of GDP. Thus, The 4 years of DUMSO cumulatively led to a loss of more than $3 billion United States dollars in economic activity. And in the process, thousands and thousands of Ghanaians lost their jobs. The poor performance of industry and the business sector in general could also be attributed to other challenges they faced, including, but not limited to, lack of access to finance, high interest rates, an unstable exchange rate, high import duties on raw materials and machinery, poor facilitation of import and export trade, particularly at our ports, inadequate and poor quality of raw materials for industrial processing, a poorly developed domestic trade infrastructure, lack of effective collaboration between research institutions and industry, limited access to service land for industrial production activities, and poor standards of regulation and certification. Our strategy is to address these challenges comprehensively in ways that will enable industry to thrive and become a major source of jobs, economic growth, and prosperity. It is against this background that our trade and industry policy initiatives and programs have been designed. At the summit, you will be introduced to an exciting menu of new business opportunities and an enabling framework of government-facilitated processes that should encourage and empower the private sector to do what they do best, transforming opportunities into profit-making enterprises needed to grow our economy and create the much-needed jobs. Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, our agenda of industrial transformation is anchored on the following 10 pillars. 1, building the competitiveness of existing local industries by facilitating access to medium and long-term financing at low interest rates. 2, implementing the One District, One Factory initiative, designed to bring industrialization to the doorsteps of the people. 3, introducing strategic anchor industrial initiatives which will create new growth poles for the Ghanaian economy. 4, establishing industrial parks and special economic zones, at least one in each of the 10 regions. One region, one park. Promoting small and medium-scale enterprise development. 6, establishing an industrial subcontracting exchange that will link SMEs to the supply chain of large-scale enterprises. 7, promoting export diversification with particular emphasis on non-traditional exports. 8, improving domestic retail trade and in promoting domestically manufactured goods, i.e. the popular euphemism of made in Ghana goods. 9, enhancing the business enabling environment through regulatory and legislative reform. And 10, promoting public-private sector dialogue as an institutionalized process for consultation. These policy initiatives and programs will be complemented by other policy interventions across government to leverage optimal support for the development of the private sector. It is worth noting that the initiatives which will be the subject matter of discussion at the summit have been crafted after extensive consultations and engagement with the private sector and other players. My team, led by that outstanding Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Shermating, started this process of engagement during the election campaign in 2016. We are now at the critical phase of implementation, which requires the unflinching support of all Ghanaians, particularly the private sector. So, I wish to remind our small and medium-scale business operators, in particular the women and young entrepreneurs gathered here, that this is your summit. Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let me assure you of my personal commitment to ensure the success of what I believe will be one of the most significant contributions of my administration to the transformation of our nation. I expect this policy summit, led by the Minister for Trade and Industry and his deputies, to be exciting and full of fruitful and creative insights. It is now my great pleasure to declare formally the second National Policy Summit duly open. Thank you. God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make a great